everybody's hungry to win, man. Everybody's hungry to win. But nobody, hardly anybody is hungry to do what winning requires. And that's what we need to get hungry for. We need to get hungry to do what winning requires, right? And build the habits of getting up every day and having a routine, a schedule, making healthy habits, self-care be the new normal. Focusing on the 20% of things that are going to get you 80% of your results, instead of almost every single person that I've talked to that is struggling is stuck in the doing 80+% of things that are getting them less than 20% of their results, if any. They're getting up, they're checking their email, they're, getting onto social media. Oh, this person's going live. Let me watch them. This person's doing that. This person's selling a new thing. That might be the thing. Oh, that person's video really resonated. Now or they said something that's contradictory to what I'm doing. Maybe that, and it's just all procrastination to avoid taking the next step and being consistent with something. And really dedicating yourself to, nothing's going to work out unless you stick with it long enough to where you get into a momentum phase. All companies suck at the beginning. Most entrepreneurs get 1,000 no's. They get turned down by investors. They get, that's not going to work. Then they launch and people criticize. They say the product sucks. They may have to go back to the drawing boards. Maybe the product does suck. Just like when people get online, they start doing videos, they suck. They don't like the sound of their voice. They don't like the way they look on camera. It's all the same. Mm-hmm. Every entrepreneur goes through the same thing. It may just be wrapped in a different wrapping paper. But we need to become addicted, not to winning, because you're not always going to win. The competitive nature in human beings means that being competitive means you're not always going to win. You're addicted to doing what winning requires. That's what kind of sports teach you when you play them, is that, look, you're going to lose a lot. Every winning basketball team, the finals just happened, and actually Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals is tonight.
Yep.
Look at the records of the teams that were in the finals. They didn't go 100-0. Mm-hmm. They went 60-40. Or 70-30. And the losing teams were 30-70. And I guarantee you those winning teams had losing seasons not too long ago where they were the 30-70. They lost more than they won.
You learn more from losing than you do winning.
But eventually, because you're addicted to and you're hungry to do what winning requires, instead of only hungry to win, you keep practicing. Mm-hmm. You keep showing up to practice. You keep doing all the things when nobody's looking. And then eventually you get good enough to where you have the best record and maybe the best team in the league, and you get to the finals and you have a chance to win a championship. But even if you don't win a championship, it doesn't mean that you didn't have a successful season. You can still make a great living without being the absolute best, both in sports and also in entrepreneurship. You don't have to be the number one. A lot of times we compare ourselves to the number one person and we say, well, who am I to even try? Well, even the worst player in the league of hundreds or thousands of players in the NHL or the NBA still make a great living. And if you want to be the top paid person, you're going to have to do a whole hell of a lot. I mean, people don't talk enough about the practice that somebody like Michael Jordan put in, how difficult of a teammate he was to be around, because he really was so competitive. He was damn near mean to his teammates. And they hated him some days because he was so difficult to be around in practice and stuff. But now they're sitting around retired wearing 6 rings, those who are on his team and him himself, and they're thankful for all of that grind, that sacrifice that happened. And so Get hungry to do what winning requires, friends. That's what I've heard you talk about throughout this entire episode, Kim. Instead
Yeah.
of just being hungry to win, because look, if you're only hungry to win, you're going to starve. You're
Right.
going to starve all your motivation and all your dedication and everything out because you're going to be so fixated on winning. And the win's never going to be good enough because you're always going to compare yourself to other people. Get hungry to practice, fall in love with the process, and understand there's going to be ups and downs. Fall in love with coming back from something. Fail
Sure.
forward and fall in love with getting back up, and you will be blown away by where you end up.